The presentation tonight. And as I said earlier, Julie's pretty well known to everybody in the club. She's the most recent recipient of the Chris Highlen Award. She's a former president and licensed ham radio operator with what, about 182 countries, 190 countries confirmed, something like that. You're way ahead of me. She worked at L3 Harris for many years as well. So we have this whole pool of L3 people that are in the club. But who knew? I mean, I didn't know. Who knew that Julie was a steely-eyed missile woman? So we had to get her into a presentation so that she could tell us how she happened to get interested in this high-powered, high-altitude rocketry, and where she plans on taking this passion of hers in the coming months. So, Julie, we have your full attention. You're on. So take it away.
Okay. I have a bunch of hobbies. I'm a third-generation stamp collector, and I have about $50,000 in stamps. I was in the Army. I was a forward observer and night vision person. And I read the Army notes one time. It says, we're here, and the rest of the Army's here, and they will tiptoe one way or the other, and they will leave us out there as bait. You know, you're sitting there with the radar going, here I am, here I am, here I am. And let's see, stamps, now rocketry, that's been since 2022 or 2023. I can't remember exactly. It's not hurting anyone. But we're going to talk about high-powered rockets. The Estes rockets for the little ones that some of you might have used for the little A motors or 1/2 A. This one will take a K, and this one takes a, I forget, another high-powered motor. And the motors are, solid state, or not solid state, but have fuel in them. It's like powder. And to show you, this is a D size. So there's A through O sizes. And this one happens to be an F. And every time you go up a letter, you double the power. So you can, and for my level 3, I got to do an N, which breaks the bank. It's probably like $400 for the motor. And the object is to fly the rockets, get them back, pass. You have to have them examined and make sure that you can put them on the pad and launch them again. So there's different requirements. Level 1 was this one. This is a level 2 rocket. And my level 3 is going to be 8 feet tall and probably about that wide. So, and this one is a single parachute. This one has an electronic bay in here. And what it does, there's wood and it fits inside. And I have altimeter in there to program when the chutes blow. There's gunpowder and little cylinders in there to blow the parachutes out. There's 2 of them, a main and a drogue. So the altimeter will fire the drogue, whatever I set it to. And then in the certified for class 3, it'll fire it at 20,000 feet. And so this has electronics. This is a chute. The chutes are underneath the parachute. I mean, underneath here. This one separates. There's little bolts on it called shear. They shear them off and it separates. And then, so this would have the drone and this would have the main parachute packed up in there. You can't see what? The back.
The smaller.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is a Zephyr. It's a kit by Apogee. Let's see if I can make this stay. Yeah. And what you do, there's many ways to hold the motor in, but I like the this one because it unscrews off. You slide the motor in here. I didn't do it. He did it. I know. Yeah, delete. I'm running. So, so these are just two of my. I got a whole bunch of them. I won't say shitload because that's obnoxious. So these are the most. And somewhere is my casing. I forgot what I did with. This is the little thing is the altimeter. It's electronics. It runs off a lithium-ion battery inside the rocket. It's an altimeter, and this one is not as smart as the other one I use, which will record the altitude, the speed, when the chutes went out, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and I didn't bring a thing to pry them apart because they have shear bolts in them. So when the charge goes off, it breaks the bolts and they separate. Yes. Yeah, the altitude, the drone goes off about at Apogee, which is the highest point. The parachute comes out, and then as it falls, in order the wind will catch it and it'll go that way or that way or that way. What we do is set that for 500 feet. So it'll blow that way that when the wind catches it, it won't go a long ways away. And the level 3 is going 20,000 feet. So I bought a GPS receiver that talks to my phone, and that was $400. So the higher you go, the more expensive it gets. And there's been some people that have taken their rockets, I mean, huge rockets. They fly them to the Cardian zone, where it's the level where space starts. Martin Carmen, yeah. And then it comes down. So I'm going to go through the slides. I heard a wait a minute. Okay. So let's see. All right, where is the slide?
Be able to do the wheel.
Oh, I don't know. Is it? Oh yeah. So high power rockets, introduction, joining the Rocket Club in Fort Wayne, joining NAR, that's the National Association of Rocketry. That's where I get my licenses. To fly these big monsters, you got to have a license. You got to pass the test. You got to, and the third one is even more. I got to write a term paper with formulas and all kinds of crap in there. So I've been stalling on that one a little bit. All right. I joined Rocketry Club about 2023, maybe 2022, 23 frame. Then I joined NARS, and that's expensive. It's like $90 to join that. This one's like $20. This is a great club, about 40, 50 people, and they have Elmers that help. You know, when I got to a stage when I was building these kits, I went to the Elmer and I showed them what I was doing, and they said good, bad, whatever. This is why stuff. I now hold a level 2 license, and I'm working on 3. We launched smaller rockets at Concordia Seminary in Fort Wayne. And if you go to the website, which I'll give you, there's a schedule, launch schedules. So if you want to go watch a rocket launch, you can sit there. If you want to bring a rocket, you can fly with us. We launched the high-powered rockets in a plowed cornfield. It's I think it's west of Wabash, just a little. So it's a ways. And for the level 3, you have to go west, like Nevada, Arizona. You got to get out there because the rockets will go very high. Mine's going to go 20,000 feet, but there's other people in the club that went 40, 50,000 feet up. So this is a Summit City Aerospace Modeler SCAM. It's in Fort Wayne, and you can see rockets. National Association of Rocketry, that's somewhere I hold my license. All right, welcome to the National Association of Rocketry. The NAR is about having fun and learning more with and the sport rocketry. We are the oldest, largest sports rocketry organization in the world. Since 1957, over 100,000 sport rocket modelers have joined NAR to take advantage. So the National Association of Rocketry is model, mid-power, and high-power rocketry. So you can see the motors. You hear them and they go off with a lot of smoke. And we have had some casualties along the way where, sorry, I'm not a comedian. All right, so where's the line between model and high-powered rocket? Well, NFPA, some government or organization, becomes a rocket under 11,000 or 1,127 feet. Uses a motor with more than 160 Newton seconds of total impulse power. So what you have, the motor goes off, it goes on for so many seconds, and then it coasts to apogee, which is the highest point. Then that blows the parachute out, and then it's coming down slowly. Well, not slowly because it's a small drone on purpose, because you don't want to lose the rocket and go in the river. And some people have put it in the river. Not me yet, though. So, and we have to behave by natural fire protection. You know, these motors have flames coming at them. You can find the codes at NFPA site. In addition, you must apply for and receive a certificate of waiver, COA, commonly called a waiver, from the FAA. So, you know, you got planes up there, and if you're going high, they might get a little nervous. So that's part of the law. All right. So how did I get started in the higher power rocketry? The NARS offers a 3-tier certification program for adult members who wish to fly high power rockets. So you got to be 18 or over. It also offers a HP high power rocket participation program to juniors and young adults 14 to 17. The expectation of the certificate program that we gain experience at each certificate level to progress to the next level. So we're, you know, step stoning. This includes building and flying several rockets that use one or more motors. I don't have any, but some of these rockets will have 4 or 5 motors that go off at one time. Members are encouraged to keep flight logs of their flights and success, and you will have failures and lessons learned. It's just what it happens. The president, somebody had a rocket firing an F motor in it, and he had it on those little like tubes where it slides up the rail. Well, that was a no-no. He should have had it on where they have a guide and it goes up a steel radio. There's no bounce in it, because otherwise you go here, you go there, or whatever. So the president had his little truck backed up near the flight field. So the lug came off, his rocket went over and hit his truck in the back. So Mr. Insurance guy got a call. I'm glad I wasn't there on that one. Yeah. Imagine he said, my truck got hit by a rocket. I mean, come on, what would you say? It's the truth. So NARS was created in '57. We already said that. Past decades has grown to encompass motor types and performance unavailable to the modelers at the NARS inception. So they come a long way. There's so much you can buy, so many gadgets, and I can get into some of that if you want. Progress, which permits individuals to purchase and use rocket motors. I only build kits so far. Exceed the traditional model rocket boundaries. Rocket motors which exceed model rocket motor definitions, and the models that use these are collectively referred to as high power rockets. So here's your certification levels. So level 1, this one, allows the purchase and use of H&I motors. This one certain F and G motors may require a level certificate. So you have to have this license certification when you go to buy a high-powered motor. So you have to follow the NAR and get the certification. Level 2 allows the purchase of J, K, and L impulse motors, solid and hybrid. Level 3 allows the purchase of M, N, and O. This is what I'm going to launch in my next one, and it's $400 for just the motor.
What is an impulse motor as opposed to solid?
You know, that's a good question. Impulse is, you light it with an electronic ignition, and that you hear that thing roar, especially a K or an N. Some of these rockets will go speed multiple times the speed of sound. I'll have to look that one up if I find a better answer. So, okay, so level 1, okay. Certification procedures, application, and digital certification form. So you have to follow the rules. Level 2 requires that you hold a valid level 1 before applying, including taking care of the written exam, which has got a lot of rules in it. Once completed, it allows the purchase of J, K, and L motors. So this one, see this motor housing here? And I use these little screw-off things to hold the rocket motors. And you slide it in, it's in here. And then the parachute is up in here somewhere. So when it blows, the nose cone comes off and it comes down, this part hanging down and that part hanging the other way. And to save money on your rocket motors, darn it, you can buy casings and refill kits. So this one has a nozzle here, and this has where the charge comes out, and they come in many different sizes. This is a 29 millimeter by 240 millimeter. It's all in millimeters, metric, except for altitude and speed. So these are expensive. I have some that are like this long and that big, which I'll use. I'm debating on whether I'll use that in my level 3. I don't want to introduce too many issues, so I might go safe and just save up, buy the solid rocket motor, and it's about that long and pretty good and round. You go online, and when you go for level 2, you have to have a level 1, otherwise you can't buy the level 2 motor. That's just what they do to us. I don't know if they do that there. There's some small rockets that are on Amazon. You know, they sell everything. All right, I got too much wording in here. I apologize. Pick up the highlights. So you have to have a level 1 before taking the written exam. The written exam is quite a bit. So again, you have your certification requirement outlined for the certification packet, which includes a sample of what you got to do. Again, it's formulas. You got to calculate how much black powder you got to use for the volume of the rocket. There's other stuff in there. And it's a term paper. I have to go and write use one of my programs that shows the structure of the rocket, the altitude, depending on the motor. There's simulations I got to run. So it's like rocket science. So here was my 5,000 feet one. So they do put off a lot of smoke. This one is white smoke. They got red. They got all kinds of colors. So it took off. It's going, and it really went to over 5,000 feet. So it's almost a mile up. Now here's the eBay. The eBay, there's a little spacer. The eBay is right here on this rocket. And there's even a hole somewhere around here for the altimeter to work. You got to equalize the air between in the rocket and outside the rocket. So electronics on eBay, you can put an altimeter, battery, black powder charges for the drag chute and the main chute. The altimeter channel 1, well, I can't. There's 1 and 2 up here. You run the wires. You can run the battery into it, and then you run the wires to these guys here. That I fill up with black powder. And I have to follow a formula depending on how high and the size of the rocket. So, sorry. All right. This is my level 3 rocket. It's fiberglass. I've gone to fiberglass coming up because these are like a dense cardboard, but they can't survive. And if you're going really fast, they'll burn the paint off them. You might be going 3 or 4 times the sound. Yeah. And the G's are pretty hard on them. So we go to a fiberglass. This will be fiberglass. This will be it'll all be fiberglass. So I have to use special chemicals, putties, and everything else. It takes a while to build these. And that's the fun of it. And then you go, oh shit, I crashed it. So here's all the sections, you know, fiberglass couplers, payload. It has a aluminum tip on the one I'm getting. I've already bought it, it's in the garage. All this. So I have the retainer. That's those screw things on there that holds the rocket motor in. I have a recovery drogue, or I call it a drag chute. And then I have a main parachute and nylon. You have shock cords, so you don't separate the rocket from the parachutes. And I bought the optional bad hawk. All right. This is where the money also happens. By the way, that rocket was over $400. So I have inside the nose cone, I'm putting a GPS receiver in there, which will transmit to my phone. And what I'll see is it will tell me as it goes up the altitude periodically, and it will show me which direction I got to walk out in the desert to go find the thing. And there's one guy that launched it so high, he never found it. So, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. How long did you walk before you found it? Long was that? I haven't been out there yet, but some of the people will walk quite a ways. And one guy at the the seminary, he has electric bike. So he gets on the bike and goes out there. And so, by the way, can you pick my rocket up over there? Otherwise, it takes me like 15 minutes to walk out and walk back. All right, this is another one I have. It's called the Rising Star. It has a see-through payload if you want to put things in it. So you can have cameras. We do have cameras. I don't know what I did with my films. Electronics or bugs. I put a grasshopper in one time, and he came out like he was a little messed up. Yeah, I let him go. I'm sure he died, or the ants got him or something. I don't know. All right. So these are rocket motors. So again, every time you go up a letter, you double the power. So when you go to A to B to a C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, or L, M, N, O. And these are all manufactured by different companies. So this is the rocket casing that this is one of them that I was talking about. So you have to put seals in this thing, and you get a grease that seals the seals up better, and you get these little, like, it's almost like, I don't know, they're little tiny packets of black powder. And then there's a delay, and then there's a fuel with a nozzle on the end, like that. So you can see this is a lot bigger than these. This is 29 millimeter diameter. And again, some people put multiple rockets in. And also they have these other kind of rockets they build out of alarm clocks and all kinds of weird stuff. And what was I going to say? Oh, there's clusters. They'll have the power coming in 12 volts, and they'll have rocket clusters in there. And they will, there's, what you do is you put a wire igniter in there with some fuel on the end. You shove it in the motors, and then you kind of wire them together. In this case, I only had one motor. And then when you push the launch button, it lights the lighter inside the nozzle, and it fires the rocket motor. All right, so here we got some websites. This one's really, really good. This helped me a lot. It's called ApogeeRockets.com. Both of these are their kits, and you can buy the casings there and the parachutes. And I switched over from plastic to nylon. And then you have like a welder's cloth that goes in around the parachute, so the ignition, the flames and the particles do not burn the parachute. And I have melted one before, so I got rid of all those. So he was a rocket scientist, believe it or not. And he has videos and hints on how to do a lot of stuff. This is our club, Summit City Aerospace Modelers.com. That's a long one. And if you want to know about the licenses, here's NAR. And these are all other competitors. These are your little SD rockets. These are big. My level 3 will come from them. And then I have some that came from them. So this is the end. So 25 minutes, not too bad. So anybody have any threats? Yes, sir.
Where's the club located?
We don't have club meetings. We have the annual Christmas party where we go out past the Amish and we have a party, barbecue and everything else. And we have a website, but we don't have anything else. And well, only if it's a special occasion, because the schedules are listed in the website. And believe it or not, I got stuck again. I'm vice president. So like, what am I gonna do? So when there's bad weather, the president, and if he's lollygagging, I have to make the decisions. So you got to go on the websites and say, well, it's not too good of a day to fly rockets. You look up the weather websites and you see what the wind is. Yeah. 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 So you go, you look at the wind and you look at whether the weather's cold, rainy. We launch usually the high powers in cold weather, because by then the corn is taken out and they plow the fields. So I had to ask him a dumb question one time. He goes, you go out by whatever the thing that rotates the water around. I said, what the hell is that? And then he explained it to me and I felt like an idiot. So, yes.
Some of your rockets out of Concordia.
Yeah.
1,000 feet. Yes, far away. Those airplanes,
well, we have waiver. We don't fly over 1,000 feet there. So, and if the airplane comes, we call a halt to everything and let him go by, even though he hasn't read the FAA requirement.
You're gonna have to get approval ahead of time.
Yeah, we do. So there. It's not very high for a high-powered rocket. Now, when we go to the cornfield, we definitely we have to call them, get the certification or whatever it is, and then we call them when we're done, so they know that we're clear of the field and we're not messing around. So So I don't know if you want some of these websites or whatever, you're welcome to copy them if you want. Yes, sir, finally.
This era of world warfare, did you get any kind of security clearance to do this?
No.
Nobody worried rocket might come down with a-
Well, we worry about that because we'll be breaking the rules, but the club has insurance through NAR. So if we hit a car, we drop it on a house or whatever, or burn the roof, we have insurance to cover us as a group. What, Edward?
Good way. Doesn't rate the maximum payload, you know, how much explosives can I put on?
The only explosives are in here to blow the parachute.
How much room is the camera?
Camera's only about that long. And you put like a little hood over it so the aerodynamics isn't broken. And you can do video. I couldn't find mine. I had my computer go down. I had to buy another computer, and
Doesn't record it on the lesson card or something?
it has memory and it has audio and it's HD. So you get a good picture of what's going on. And then you're watching it when the parachute, and then it's going whoom, 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 on the way down. Yes, sir.
So, okay, so you talked about all these standards, rocket motors can go up a double each time, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Well, you
Well, what if
increase
you-
power.
You're like an off the reservation kind of person, you say, man, I wanna, you know, I'm just saying, there's people out there, what if you wanna do your liquid oxygen and your kerosene or? you
Well,
know,
there's
whatever.
always an a-hole.
Well, I'm just saying, is it legal or illegal?
No, I definitely not.
You get a
I mean,
at your door.
You're not, can't do that?
No,
Oh,
we don't do it because we don't want to have somebody coming for us.
so nobody in the United States can use an alternate fuel?
Not without FAA.
Yeah, you got to go through, you got to be licensed.
Not like back in the thirties, when
No.
1930s.
No,
Robert Goddard, you know, like,
yeah. The only security clearance I had was in the, was doing satellites and radar and all the other stuff. So I was an RF engineer for like 40+ years. So I still don't believe I don't glow in the dark. I mean, I was handling like 18 gigahertz at kilowatts of power. So we used to have to wear a badge and get tested back then. And then the main thing you worry about is cataracts from the microwave. It could hurt you. So, yes,
What kind of launch base do you have for those really big rockets?
we have several. When we go to the field, we have several rods, and some of them are square and they're steel, and you put the rocket over on that. And then all the wires come to a place where you can test that you got continuity. And then there's a guy in the club that actually launches the rockets for everybody. And now we have to have our rockets inspected because it's about safety. You could hurt somebody with this stuff. Yeah.
Well, like that big one, that 8-footer. Will somebody there, that or whatever, have a launch platform for that?
Either that or you have to bring something. The club has something. They've done really big rockets, but it's too expensive for them right now. And they've launched them. Most of them crashed. So, yes.
So you mentioned solid rocket fuel. I also said there was another type of motor that was hybrid.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I've never had any experience with that. Maybe.
Yes.
I have, like I said, mine's going to go 20,000 feet, but there are some that have gone into space, and they have like a CO2 canister that blows the parachutes and stuff like that. So,
Do you mean like 60 miles? That type of thing? 50
yeah,
miles?
whatever it is, 60 something miles, 68, 69, I don't know.
What's-
So you launch in these rockets, how far?
You have to.
Behind walls?
No, the further you go, the higher you go with the high power, you have to be a certain distance. I think it's like 500 feet or something like that. in Accordio, we have smaller rockets, so we can be a little closer. And we have audio systems where we announce the rocket. And, you know, we follow all the rules. All right? Yes. I've lost track. Quite a few. My first rocket was a Der Big Max. It was like a German on it. I took all the Jewish shit off of it because I don't want to get beat up. So it had the, you know, the insignia and the bones on it and everything. And I launched that several times. And I've launched all these. I've launched the camera one. I've launched 40 or 50 times at least.
Where are the slots in?
This is part of his design. The guy at Apogee designed both of these. And I guess it has something to do with aerodynamics. I don't know that answer. I don't say I do when I don't. So, are we done?
Sounds like it. Thank you, Julie. Very interesting.
Remember, you're more than welcome to come out when we start launching. I can let you know.
Very interesting. So last Saturday, we had our first public viewing session of the year. We're only a week late. April 5th was supposed to be. Go ahead and plug it in. I'm just here you go. Vamping until you're ready.
Sure.
So that was totally clouded out or rained out or both. And this past Saturday it was cold, not too windy, thank goodness. And we had a crowd of about 18 people come out. Good number of kids, various ages, up to 12 and under. Another boy from Ohio that's really interested in astronomy and very enthusiastic about it. He was climbing up and down the ladder to look into the 16 just as soon as I could get something in view. He was up for that. But the crowd petered out rather quickly because it was cold.
Well, and it was warm during the day. So we had people show up in shorts and t-shirts. And then it was going down into the 50s. And there was just enough of a breeze that, okay, you can get away with shorts and a t-shirt maybe if you're a young person and there is sun on your face or your back or whatever. You have solar heating going, that would have worked. But, once the sun went down, no. So I think we're going to have to make an announcement next time. But anyway.
No, I think people need to make their own decisions.
Well, yeah. Well, no, just suggestion, folks.
Dress appropriately.
Dress appropriately. Yeah. Okay.
You should be able to. You should know.
So
There should
anyway,
be something else.
I got a new phone this month. Partly because the thing that started this was my online physical therapy app says, we're not going to deal with your old version of Android anymore. Android 9 and not updatable. So, okay, fine. So I moved up to a new to me phone, a Galaxy S22. Turns out it has night mode. And well, this is a raw shot from the camera. Looking at, we've got, of course, the full pink mini moon over here. And then this is what they call a moon dog. To the left of the moon, you have this bright colored patch in the clouds, and that is a moon dog. That's only the 5th moon dog that I've seen in 30 some years of looking for these things. So this was exciting. And what was actually a little more exciting to me was before it even occurred to me to take the picture, people were hollering at me to look at this thing. We didn't have that cloudiness over the moon. Normally when I've seen moon dogs, there has been cirrus clouds or something like, some sort of cloudiness that has clouds that have ice crystals in them. And refraction from the ice crystals is what is creating the moon dog. And in particular, it's creating the slight diffraction that's going on there. Well, when this thing started, there was no cloud over the moon that I could see. I mean, it was really faint. Yeah, go ahead and turn it off. Yeah. Ask the Old Farmer's Almanac. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from. They claim that it's yeah. Yeah.
It looked orange to me. I didn't look pink.
Well, it did look slightly pink when it was really close to the horizon, but not for very long. It was a lot more orange, honestly. Salmon pink.
In fact, as it developed, you can kind of see that it was starting to rise a little bit. And a few minutes later, this area right here actually started to glow bright as well. And it looked like it was going to try to form a circle, but there was not enough haze, not enough cloud layer to do that. But there was an enhancement. So we actually got to see two, but you had to look carefully in order to find it. So
Yeah.
it actually was one of the brighter moments
Yeah.
that we had that evening. So that was a lot of fun.
So this is why we go out on Saturday nights, among other
That's right.
things.
That's
I
right.
mean, you catch stuff like this.
But it's really surprising.